What up, Jerron Davis? Jerron says, well, it seems like all my exes and friends betray me, one way or another. I'm always getting betrayed. Ain't nobody loyal on these streets. Like, I get it, right? But a couple things come to mind. First is this, and this is just my perspective, and I'm not trying to push this on you or anyone else. My way of thinking, how I see things. Like, I'm not being betrayed in a sense. Yes, I am, but I'm not. Because each experience teaches me something for the next step and next level I have to go through, right? That I will go through. What am I learning from this experience of quote unquote betrayal, right? And then here's another thing, like everything has a beginning and an end and an in between. So if somebody's born in 1900 and they passed away in 1980, right? That's the time they're supposed to pass away, right? And some of us, we are up in arms when we have a loved one who passes away. But then other times, like, you know what, it was their time. Do we see our relationships in the same way? Like, you know what, this relationship has a beginning and this relationship has an end, right? And I'm learning from everything in between of the beginning and the end. Maybe this is the only way for this relationship to end because it's so good that it has to. The only way for it to end is to end through betrayal, because I've learned and experienced everything I needed from this individual and this co-creation that we got going on from this relationship. So in order for it to actually end, it had to end. And this is the only way it would have ended between us, because we would have found some way to keep it going when we should have not kept it going. How do you identify the end of the chapter, right? In books, it tells you this is the next chapter. You go from chapter 1 to chapter 2, from chapter 3 to chapter 4. It's marked. Are we seeing the markings of the end of the chapters in our relationships? Are we seeing the markings of the end of the chapters in our journeys? Are we seeing the end of the chapters? Right? Some chapters have to be marked a certain way, just like signs in the roads. Like, if you go in some places, somebody private property, you're going to see no trespassing private property. But if you go on to a government installation, you're going to see a different type of no trespassing sign. You come over here, you're liable to get arrested and fined. This is the last warning. Do not come past. This is government property. We see the signs. So that way, when you cross the threshold past the signs, there's no way you could say, listen, I ain't know. You're going to get the consequences. So my question is to me, not to you. When have I seen the signs of ending relationships, betrayals, whatever you want to call it, and I still kept going? A lot of times, I ain't gonna lie, I'm living a human experience, right? And I know it ain't gonna be the last, right? But I'm striving to become better. Sometimes I needed to keep going through those times because I ain't know what it looked like, what betrayal looked like from the beginning, the middle, the end. Or I did know it, and I thought, you know what, that ain't gonna be that. So, I learned through every experience. When the same wound wears a different face, the soul isn't being punished. It's being pointed towards the lesson it keeps avoiding. Am I avoiding certain lessons? When it feels like betrayal follows you, it's not life declaring that you are unworthy. It's life exposing what still needs to be reclaimed. Repetition is sometimes revelation. I ain't gonna lie. A familiar pain isn't coincidence. A familiar pain isn't coincidence. It's curriculum. We're learning. Each betrayal holds a mirror. reflecting where your boundaries are leaking, where your love overextends, where your intuition was ignored in the name of connection. Like, that's a whole topic in itself right there, right? When your boundaries leak, what does leaky boundaries look like, right? When I say I stand on business, but if this person do it, I'm gonna let it slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But if somebody else do it, I'm standing, no, you ain't doing that to me. What does it look like when my boundaries leak? What does a leaky tire look like? What does a leaky cup look like? What does a leaky faucet look like? What does it look like when my boundaries are leaky? What does it look like when my love overextends? To overextend means to make too long, impose on someone an excessive burden of work or commitments. Am I loving too hard? Overextension of love. And that's a whole nother level, a whole nother lesson. Overextending love. Often we attract versions of the same wound until we respond differently. I'm gonna say it again. Often we attract versions of the same wound until we respond differently. I know I can resonate to that. The betrayal isn't the teacher. Your reaction to it is. The betrayal isn't the teacher. Your reaction is the teacher to the betrayal. That's what the teacher is. These relationships don't return to hurt you. They return to awaken you. So I would ask myself, what is it that I need to learn and be awakened and see? To remind you that trust must first be built with self before it can be safely extended outward. When friends or exes betray you, look beyond the actions. See the energetic invitation. Did I ignore the red flags? Did I crave loyalty from those still loyal to their own dysfunction? Did I give from emptiness, hoping I would earn love? Am I empty? What am I empty of? What if I feel like I'm missing because I got all that I need? Or maybe I don't even know. Because healing begins when you stop asking why they do this. Why they do this? Why this happened? Healing begins when you start asking, what in me keeps tolerating this? Why do I keep allowing this to happen? Why am I drawn to this type of frequency, this energy, this behavior? Why is it attractive to me? The deeper truth is betrayal ends when boundaries begin. Where are the least of my boundaries? When self-trust becomes your home, no one else's behavior can evict your peace. And what that means is when you start feeling that uncomfortability, don't ignore it, address it. It starts looking shady and feeling shady. You need to start looking for the shade. I'm gonna give you some real life examples before we wrap it up. Ignoring early discomfort for fear of being too sensitive. Confusing loyalty with endurance of pain. Over-explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Feeling responsible for how others treat you. I'm the reason why they treated me that way. Repeating emotional cycles that feel familiar, not fulfilling. What part of you still believes that you must earn loyalty? Where have you mistaken consistency for connection? And what pattern